So I want to introduce our friend Sparsh today. You all have seen his amazing profile. Can you imagine? I think at 14 or 15 years, he spoke at TEDx first time. I am impossible, right? And since then, he has been at various other very uh, important forums like Kaun Banega Crorepati. It's a very big, like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire kind of a series in India with the Indian artist Amitabh Bachchan, if anybody knows. So he has been at a very prestigious forums in Europe, in America, 200 million uh, views on social media. So we all have to figure out that why so many people follow him. And I have, personally seen him grow the last few years, and he's our youth ambassador. So today he will speak a little bit about him. You all, I mean, I don't want to make any emotional this thing, but the person who was born with 33 fractures is in front of us as a motivational speaker. After listening to him and talking to him, many people have changed their mind even not to do commit suicide. And those type of emails have come to his father. So he is that effective in the society as one of the very good motivational speaker. Today he is not going to talk general. He is going to talk specific for us. Sparsh, over to you, buddy. You can unmute.
Yes,
All right.
thank you so much, Pranav Uncle, for the beautiful introduction. And I also want to say thank you so much, all of you, for joining. I want to welcome you all as the Youth Ambassador of Voice of Specially Abled People to this amazing internship cohort and this amazing research opportunity that you guys are all partaking in to really make lasting change for this world. And before I say anything else, I just want to thank you for investing in the 15% of the world that society has for so long until recently refused to give a voice to. The people with special needs that are in fact people with special abilities that just haven't yet been recognized or polished by society per se yet. And I just believe that the most amazing thing about this is that you all are college and university students, right? You all are young adults. We're the youth and we're doing this. We're not people who are 40, 50, 60 years old who have been researching whatever topics for like decades and stuff. We may not necessarily have the experience in this kind of thing on our hands, but we do have a fresh perspective. And we do have our own ideas, our own unique experiences to bring to this table. I think this amazing opportunity that the Voice of Specially Abled People has given you all a platform to partake in really proves DJ Khaled's statement to me. We're the generation that's gonna run the world. So if we're gonna run the world and we're gonna make change, and this is one of the first and most necessary steps to social transformation. Who's with me? Who believes they're gonna run this world? Who believes we're the generation that's gonna run the world? All right, that's amazing. And
Everybody.
I say that I believe in you because I myself, at the age of 17, and to, I say this not out of a position of bragging, but I say this out of a position of pure gratitude for what I've been able to do. In 17 years, in just 17 years, I've been able to live my dream career, being a musician and being a motivational or inspirational speaker has really almost always been something that I wanted to do. When I was younger, I thought that you would have to grow up to do what you want to do in life, but I've realized through the performances that I do, through the many countries I've visited, despite my physical limitations, that that is a lie. You don't need to grow up to do what you want to do in life. And I believe you guys are also proof of that. So your work, I believe, is so much more than just helpful. Um, uh, as we know that there is a big gap between the perception of people with special needs and special abilities and the reality. There has not been too much thorough research in the disability sector. And because of that, your work is not just helpful. It is literally groundbreaking. You're going to all be providing us with new insights about the special needs community that the world has probably never been exposed to. And I think through that, you're doing two things. Number one, as Pranav Uncle has already talked about in his presentation, you are creating a disproportionate impact, right? You are creating an impact that will affect society in a way that has never been impacted before, in a way that can truly influence the leaders, politicians, and even regular people who are maybe, who will be figuratively and literally maybe on the streets protesting for change. You are going to be influencing them to take action by laying this foundation through research. And again, like I said, because there's a lack of adequate, like there's a difference between perception and reality, you're also destroying stigma. There's so many false and preconceived notions about people with special needs and what we can do, what we can't do, and what we're capable of, and what we need to be treated as equals and integrated in this world. So in that sense, I believe you're also destroying that stigma. Through your work, as you all might have known at some time in your high school or college career, you know the three appeals in every argument: ethos, pathos, and logos. And your research, I believe, here is catering to perhaps the most important facet of research: logos. We are building a powerful appeal to logos here. Again, nobody's going to make a change in this world if we don't know why. If we don't know why it's necessary and why our current situation is not the best and why we need to improve, then change will never happen. So this appeal to logos is at the center of our data-driven advocacy. And that's what you guys, I believe, are giving strength to through this research. And through this research, we'll be able to take action. Of course, action is a loaded word. What do I mean by action? I personally believe that social transformation, for not just the specially abled, but any sort of social transformation, has 3 stages into it. I believe the first stage is compassion. And why do I say compassion and not something like, sympathy or empathy or something like that? Pranav Uncle, would you mind if I shared my screen so
Yeah, yeah,
I could show a diagram quickly?
yeah. Manushri, can you?
Let me see.
Yes, Sparsh, I just made you co-host.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm gonna quickly share this. Let me see. Adventure. 1 second. Okay, there we go. Basic. I think this is it. Yeah, this is it. 1 second. Open. Yeah. No, this is. 1 second. Just working out these technical difficulties. Oh, there we go. There we go. I think. No, this isn't it. I think it's better if I just show it to you right from the Google Images. But I don't think that matters. What matters is the diagram. So can you all
We
see
are
this?
able to. We could able to see something.
Yeah, can you all see this diagram? It says something about pity, sympathy, empathy, and compassion. You all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. So I think the first thing is, right, why compassion and not anything else? Because pity is condescending. Pity says, look, I acknowledge your suffering. Oh man, what a shame. It's not fair. It's not right. What's happening shouldn't happen. But it never gets to the heart of it. It never asks, why doesn't it happen? Why doesn't, why is this not fair? Why is this not right? It looks down, and it just looks away. It doesn't do anything after. In contrast, sympathy is appreciating. It does try to understand suffering, and it says that I genuinely care. But it doesn't go beyond that, and it can't, because sympathy has not suffered itself, right? Why do we say we sympathize with people instead of empathize? Because we don't know what they're going through, although we do care. And that position renders us powerless because We don't know how we can help because we haven't been through that problem. Empathy is understanding. It comes down to one's level. It meets eye to eye with that person and says, look, I feel your pain. I know what you're going through. But I still feel like it's powerless. It's not the be-all, end-all. It can only provide emotional and psychological comfort, at the most. It can only say, look, I feel your pain, but I don't know what we can do about it. I don't know how we can change it. However, compassion is activating. And it doesn't just say, I feel your pain. It says, with whatever power I have, I don't care what power I have, with whatever influence I've been given, I want to eliminate your suffering. It's not just about, I feel your pain, it's about, I want to end your pain. And that's why I believe compassion is the first and most necessary step in achieving social transformation. Because only compassion can produce a desire for change. And I know you all have compassion. You all want to eliminate the suffering of people like Pranav Uncle and me and the hundreds of millions of others that are disadvantaged in so many aspects of society. And you guys are doing this with the power that you have. That's research. And so, through your compassion, I believe you've already laid the foundation in your hearts. You just need to now you just need to build a scaffolding. This is the second stage, and it's enabling. Why do I say enablement? Because entitlement gives you the rights on paper, but it does nothing to change the world, because reality is different. As we know, with all the recent police brutality cases happening, this is very, very clear. African Americans got the rights to vote 100 years before they were actually recognized as people through the civil rights movement. And we still have so much more to go, so much farther to move forward on. And enabling, it doesn't just give you rights, it enforces those rights. And it says, look, if anybody tries to violate your rights, it's not just we're saying that you have the rights, but we will give you all the tools necessary to help you maintain those rights and defend those rights. And in this way, I believe your research will enable those with special needs. Because using the facts that you guys will find, we will be able to lobby world leaders, politicians, people who want change, and say, look, it's one thing to say that, all people with special needs are equal, that they should be treated equally. It's another thing to say, this is what we're going to do to help them have an equal place in society. I think this is the great thing about organizations that help serve other people, especially Voice of Specially Abled People. We've enabled people like you guys to amplify the enabling of the specially abled through research. And that's why I decided to be youth ambassador of this organization, why I agreed to be this ambassador, because I understand that these kinds of platforms are what what gives other people the inspiration to be the change that they want to see in the world. Again, logos is legitimacy. We can only cater to people with special needs if we know exactly what those needs are. And by finding out those needs, we can enable those people. Third stage is empowerment. Because entitlement gives you the ability to live out your rights. But empowerment, I think, is a step further. It doesn't just say, these are your rights and now you can defend those rights, but it also says, your voice is just as important as anybody else's and everybody else's in society. Empowerment means integration, inclusivity, not just accessibility, which I know is especially important and caters to the topic of the Disability and Inclusion Index that we are building through this research. And once you've finished your research, we can use that to take action to help empower those that have always been given the short end of the power stick. What does that mean? Nothing more and nothing less than that we are treated as equals, not just physically and legally, but also psychologically and socially. So I believe your job is the most important, because while people at the front lines may be calling for action, protesting on the streets, lobbying people to pass certain laws, you guys are giving us the roadmap. You're not just showing us that action can be taken, but you're showing us how to do so efficiently and effectively. So once again, I want to thank you. Thank you for pouring not just your heart and your soul, but also for pouring your minds and your academic strengths to the more than worthy cause of helping people with special needs instead be treated as specially abled. I know the work will be tough because the special needs sector hasn't been researched so thoroughly. Often it may feel like you're on your last ropes. You might feel exhausted sometimes finding out the right sources and getting all these, questions answered that you want to get answered. But I've always believed that there is a light at the end of every tunnel, and even if you don't see it, keep digging because you're still making progress. Most importantly, you're a part of VOSAP's vision on this journey to reality. And I want to thank you for being part of those visions, for seeing through our eyes this beautiful future that we can create together as the youth to influence the rest of the world, to treat everyone equally, regardless of who they are. You guys are on the right path to make a powerfully disproportionate impact on this world. And we look forward to seeing you continue this journey for the rest of your life, just like Manushri, Anusha, and I. Remember, once you're a VOSAPian, you're always a VOSAPian. And I want you to know that there's no concert without the crew. That is my final wisdom. And we will always remember you for the work that you are doing now, because it is crucial and vital to our success and the success of this social transformation. We are the crew. Together, we will change the world for the better. We will create a chain reaction that inspires people all throughout the world to engage in data-driven advocacy and create lasting change that even generations after, people will still feel the impact of. So thank you, happy researching, and I wish you all the best for a great outcome and amazing results. Let's take what we've learned and let's put it into action.
Thank you, Sparsh. Thank you very much. Thank you. You all can, I'm sure everybody is fully energized after listening to Sparsh. Wow, I can see some kind of things. Okay. All right. So again, we are very, very, privileged. Like now the crew that started before 3 years with Sparsh, then Manushri, then Anusha, and few others. And now we have this family of youth. The crew that Sparsh is talking is now this big. We will change it. Anybody has a question or comments on what Sparsh talk before we jump into the next topic?
Don't be shy, everyone. I'm open. All yours.
He has handled very tough questions, by the way, okay? So challenge yourself to ask maybe some tough questions. I'm old man, but he's like you. You can talk to him. I can go off video.
Yeah.
I don't have a question. I have a comment, Sparsh. When you say O sapien, I remembered Homo sapien. Homo sapien in Latin means wise man. We all belong to Homo sapien. So we are all becoming more wiser, taking this course. So we should call ourselves O sapien rather than O sapien. So it's a comment.
I like that. I never thought of it that way. And you know what I just realized? Even Homo sapien has the SAP in it. So that actually, I love that because that appeals to the universality of our message, the ubiquity of it, that everyone is a specially abled person. The only reason that we're advocating for people with special needs is because they haven't been recognized. But we all know that at the end of the day, we are all sapiens. We are all specially abled people. So I love that you mentioned that, Uncle. That's beautiful. Like, really addresses the universality of our message.
Yeah, it came out of your thought. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Sparsh, I just want to say thank you so much for speaking. I am personally very inspired by you. I was spending all of yesterday watching all of your videos, and I think the the veracity with which you speak and the truthfulness and the message that you're delivering is so touching to me. And I didn't realize like how emotionally connected I was with this community until I met like Pranav Uncle. And then a few weeks ago, actually, before Pranav Uncle introduced us to you, Anusha and I stumbled upon your video and we were like, wow, like who is this? And then it just happened to be that we had you speak here today. So I wanted to say thank you. And I did have a question. I was wondering, what is something that you know today or that you've learned today that you would have wished to know a few years earlier, like advice that you would give an even younger version of yourself?
Right. So if I may rephrase the question, you were asking something that I wish I'd learned earlier that I know now that
Yes.
maybe might help someone else.
Mm-hmm.
I think one thing, I mean, there's a whole lot of things one can say in answer to this question, but I think the one that might be the most relevant is, I think, it's okay to it's okay if you experience changes in interests, changes in passions, changes in where you want to go in life. Just as you don't need to be an adult to know what you want to do in life, I think it's also just as important to be open to all the possibilities and to know that it doesn't matter really your age at all and what you want to be in life. I know that going into high school, a lot of you, I mean, going into college, a lot of you were being asked probably by your teachers, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be? And a lot of you might have been pressured to make a decision. People might have already chose their majors. If you haven't chosen your majors, you know, a lot of people do recognize you as the very fortunate and informed ones because you probably took a bunch of courses in college and then found out what you really liked. And I want you to all know that it's okay to change your passion, like to change what you want to do, because as you grow older, your experiences are obviously going to change, right? And and what the way you view life will change as a result. So what you want to do in this life will also change. Biggest example is, like I was saying when I learned through experience and also due to a TED Talk that, you know, you don't have to grow up to do what you want to do in life. But also when I was younger, I wanted to be a paleontologist. I was really obsessed with prehistoric animals and I wanted to understand, like, you know, that kind of history, and these animals just fascinated me even more than modern animals, and I was just like, that was something I really wanted to do. But I started figuring out later through experience and performances and just getting in touch more with my musical self as more opportunities came that not only would music help to impact so many more people than me being a paleontologist, but it would also be able to, I could inspire others. I could show them that, look, even if you're in this kind of condition that you're in, you can make the most of it and not just survive despite of it, but thrive because of it. So I think that really influenced me, and also again as a motivational speaker, I started thinking, oh, this could be like a dual thing as a musician and a speaker. This would, and it would also help to, you know, again impact more people and inspire them despite their obstacles, and because of them to succeed. So I think the one thing is always be open to the possibilities and be willing to adapt. You know, we always talk about we talked about IQ. We're talking about EQ, and now they're talking about AQ. Adaptability quotient is the new thing. And I think that makes sense because we realize that not only is the brain adaptable, but adaptability has always been viewed as a necessity in life, right? And so I say just stay open to it.
Wow. IQ to EQ to AQ.
Mm-hmm.
Good, good.
Anybody else?
Anusha, you want to have any closing comments before we?
Yeah, I just wanted to thank you again, Sparsh, so much. I think more than just your work, your energy that you bring to the table is phenomenal and so inspirational. So we really do appreciate you being here and taking the time to speak with us. I don't have any concluding questions, but if anyone else does, we are welcome to have a last question. Otherwise, we can move on to our activity that we have planned.
Ooh, nice.
Looks like everybody is geared up for the activity. Now, one last comment to all of you. Sparsh is part of the family, Voice of SAP, as you all know, Youth Ambassador. His videos and everything has been at UN and many other places. He has helped us raise funds also. And he's very smart on many things, which I always learn. Like today, I learned AQ, which is another good thing. But point is, you all can connect to him if you want to. If you want to stay connected, I mean, he's celebrity for probably the world. But for me, I'm his uncle and he is my VOSAPian. So you all have full right to reach out to him, and he will always, even whatever moment you might have, because once you know more about people, why especially about, because people like Sparsh, if you look at his problems, you will never imagine where he is today. But that's where the whole thinking comes, with believing and then doing, and he is that live example. Again, a lot of divine energies with him, probably, which I believe, but we all have divine energy. So let's try to stay connected.